When should I or should I not obey the state when it comes to following Jesus?
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Good.
You go ahead.
Well, whenever there's anything in the state that would cause you to compromise your following Jesus, I would say then you have an obligation to not obey the state. It's like in Acts 5 where the apostles say, should we obey man or God? And they say we've got to obey God. And so if God calls us, now it's very clear in the New Testament that we're to obey insofar as it's possible. And Paul says in Romans 12, insofar as it's possible, live at peace with all people. And you have to obey the laws of the land and submit to those who are in authority. You find that. Mainly because I think from the view of the New Testament, since we're about a different kingdom, don't needlessly distract yourself by getting in trouble with that kingdom. Stay as clean as possible, because why waste time? But insofar as we're to follow the call of God, if following the state ever requires us to forsake our call to be kingdom disciples, we have an obligation, I think, to disobey it. Civil disobedience. Do you agree, Paul?
Yeah, Apostle Paul, if we took Paul seriously in Philippians 3, where he says about Christians that our citizenship is in heaven. That's our colony. That's our kingdom. That's our city. That's our nation. Is heaven, the heavenly kingdom. And he doesn't mean some pie in the sky by and by. He's talking about the kingdom of God. That's our kingdom. And then he talks about us as being ambassadors in this world. If we took that literally, I think it'd be the same sort of question as saying, well, to what degree does the ambassador from France to the U.S. obey U.S. laws? If you just take this very straightforwardly. Well, he obeys U.S. laws all the time, right? That's what you do when you're a foreign ambassador in another country. But if it ever came where obeying that law was doing something to betray his position as the French ambassador to France, then you'd have to renegotiate that, right? That's the same thing. I think that's another way of saying what Greg's saying. We're called to be ambassadors in this world as citizens of the kingdom of God. And when you're an ambassador, you're trying to get along with and relate positively with your host country. But if your host country all of a sudden gives a law or a command or something that's going to cause you to violate your actual first allegiance to your home state, then things have to be looked at differently. And I think to use that analogy, I think Paul took that very seriously and literally. Act as ambassadors in a foreign country. How does that work? I think that would help us have concrete answers to that sort of question.
And notice that it's not obey your country as long as your country is in line with God.
Right.
And this is a thing I've seen that is a little bit concerning among some of the younger, more radical Anabaptist types, is they're calling for Jesus' followers to not pay taxes, because paying taxes supports the war regime and supports abortion clinics and supports all sorts of ungodliness. So don't pay taxes. But see, that's confusing the two kingdoms again. 3 times in the New Testament we're told explicitly to pay our taxes. Do you think any of the earliest Christians thought that the Roman Empire was righteous? Not at all. I mean, their debauchery makes our government and most other governments look like, saints. But they said pay taxes because, look, we're foreigners here and this is what we do. Our job is to be building the kingdom of God. So don't get distracted by this. Whatever money they want, give it to them. Rather than trying to police what they do. And you find that going on more and more these days. I'm finding that since I got on the radar screen with the Anabaptist, I get people calling me saying, will you sign this petition and da-da-da so that we can get the government to stop doing this unrighteous stuff and we should be able to catch you, blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't think that's what we're supposed to be doing. Don't tweak what they're doing. Just do what you're supposed to do.